Yes. So, can you tell us a little bit about maybe your early school age and the kind of things you passed through and how you were able to overcome?
My early education was from schools that had no name. You know, one in Enugu, Chinatown Primary School, and then Global High School. You know, these schools, you know, are just schools, you know. And but then, over time, you know, we are engaged, exposed to some certain things that, you know, either create that focus in us or divert us from it. But I chose to get focused. And science has, you know, happens to be, you know, a very fascinating thing for me. And by nature, I'm a very inquisitive person, you know. So, you know, I went through science, and then, well, that saw me in India, and then I came back to Nigeria, and then to Europe, and then here I am in America today. And then, by the grace of God, happened to, you know, be trained in clinical research also from Harvard Medical School. So now, why is that important to me? It is important because, like what I said before, you know, the youths or any person, you know, can reach anywhere he wants to reach. If he wants to reach there.
Okay.
Harvard is the best, the most acclaimed
school in the whole world.
In the whole world.
Okay.
And then here is somebody without, you know, that you know, $1 million or something, you know, that, you know, happen to have that opportunity. It's not because I'm brilliant. It's because of my faith. Because I believe that, and then I had a focus that that's where I want to go. Yeah. Because even the Bible says that we will call the things that have not been to be. You know, that's it. And the programs that I'm doing, doing STEM, you know, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and I've done NASA programs, you know, after school programs. You know, it's not because of anything, but just because I'm focused. So, I mean, sometimes when I hear people talk about opportunity, no person gave them opportunity in life, I feel so bad. Because no person gives any person opportunity. You have to create the opportunity yourself. When you create opportunity, then the created opportunity will meet you. It's like fusion of, you know, unlike terms.
Okay.
Because you created your own, and it's going to fuse with another one coming in. That means, you know, you don't wait, you know, for somebody to create enabling environment for you to come and dwell. No, you start creating it, and somebody will come and create it. So, I mean, America happens to be a ground that gives every person the lift. You know, if you want to go higher, it will lift you higher. If you want to go deeper down below, it will also do it. So I chose to go higher, and then here I am today.
You talk much about neuroscience. If you look at the society that we are in today, there's a lot of problem here and there. How can neuroscience help our society?
Wow. Well, thank you for that. Now, I must tell you, honestly, neuroscience is the first ever thing that existed before even we existed.
Wow, okay.
And then because it existed before we existed, neuroscience now gives you the enabling environment for you to exist more than you think. Now, cognition, recognition of things around you. In medicine, you say, you know, orientation or oriented TPP, time, place, and person, right? These are facets of neuroscience. For you to know your environment, you know, the society ought to impart the knowledge of knowing this environment. What does the environment need? If you want to, you know, have a sustenance in life, all you need to do is to endeavor to abolish lacks around you. You know, if you go through the history tells us that the early men, they had no light, they had no matches, but they had this thing to
To spark light.
Yeah.
Okay.
Strike stones to
Okay.
make light. That's cognitive neuroscience there.
Mm.
So in totality of neuroscience, is a subject that you cannot do without. If you cut the bread,
Okay.
you don't live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Then if you don't cognate, articulate well, you can't hear me
Okay.
or you can't see.
Okay.
These are all
Neuroscience.
neuroscience.
Wow. Wow.
In a very primary stage.
Okay.
Now, my Society for Neuroscience, here, they do something called Brain Awareness Week. So the aim of that Brain Awareness Week means go to the street and tell the common man. Tell me in a language he will understand.
Okay.
Go to the schools and tell them the importance of what happens in the brain. A criminal cannot do any criminal act without his brain.
His brain, okay.
Yeah. A pastor like you cannot talk to God. You cannot, soar to go higher to praise God without your brain.
Okay.
So the brain rules everything you have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we say it's the center of health, the new understanding.
Wow. Wow. Neuroscience existed before we came into existence. Therefore, it is something worth talking about and worth knowing. Anyway, our guest tonight is someone that has a lot of things in him that I would love us to listen to and get more. We're going to go into politics right now so I will understand what he thinks about some other things. Follow me as we talk to our guest. Yes, sir. I want to know your view in some other areas. Don't be offended, sir.
It's all right.
Yes. You're from Nigeria?
Yes.
Good. So what do you see about the situation in the country now? Everybody was shouting of change, and then the change has come. Some people are complaining this and that. What is your take in the situations we are passing through in Nigeria today?
Well, that's the change.
Okay.
You call for change, and change has come. And then remember that it was undefined.
Oh, okay.
We didn't say change for
good,
or for bad. So we have change.
Okay.
So I think what we have to do is to go by that change and take the best. In every awkward situation, there are some good things in it. First good thing in this change that is obvious is that those that stole the money of the country, the treasure of the country, they are not hiding.
Okay.
That's one good thing.
Okay.
That's a change.
Okay.
Because the money they have is not their money.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And they don't even invest that money in the country.
Okay.
They go overseas and bank the money in rich foreign countries, bankrupting Nigeria. So that's a big change.
Okay.
It's an applause.
Okay.
But in terms of employment and other things, that's what we have to call for roundtable talk.
Okay.
The youths, they need job. And then we have wrong perception. Government don't create jobs. Government creates enabling environment.
Okay.
Private people create jobs. So in this case, those in government should be made to understand that what they have to do is to create enabling environment.
Okay.
Not only for people overseas, people in the country. There are many job creators in the country that have not help. So government should look into that and then create, allow them to create these jobs. That's one.
Okay.
And then another way is in education. It's a very, very, very appalling situation going through, our higher institutions. When you go through there, you see what they go through, you see what is in there, you see what the professors go through. Man, we have no school. So I think government should turn around, invest in education, and then let education be the mainstream.
Okay.
Now, because without knowledge, the Bible says, without knowledge, my people perish. So if you allow knowledge, allow those that teach others, and then we got everything wrong. It's like in a home. If you need peace, mommy must be made happy.
Happy, okay.
So if you need education, teachers must be made happy. How dare you, teachers, 7 months, some 1 year. You don't pay them. And you want them to impart knowledge to your children. It's not possible. It's not possible. And they send their children overseas. They now come overseas to study. But now, let me ask you one thing. As Nigerians, all these guys that stole our money,
Okay.
how many of their children do you see succeed in life? How many? How many? There's something called retributive justice.
Justice. Okay.
It goes back to them. Because people are crying. That's it. But see the hardest working man on the street. He has no money. In one of the programs that I did, I asked the audience, how many of you here are graduates?
Okay.
Almost every person there, every person, you know. Then I asked, how many of you are engineers? Half of the, how many of you are employed? None. Now, how can you train engineers in school and you don't employ
No
them?
employment.
How can you train doctors in school and you don't employ them? How can you train architects in school and you don't employ them? Even historians, we have a lot of things. It became a taboo to talk about a Biafra. That's a terrible thing. It's our history. We have to uphold it. It happened. If you know you don't want to hear anything, don't do it. It happened. Our children ought to know what we passed through. So that will help them to know their lives.
Okay.
So, but we mock history, we close history. Fathers of the nations are not known. If I ask 2 or 3 people, who is Professor Lambo? They don't know. They don't know. Will I show you in camp? They don't know. But when I say President Obama, they know. If a man does not clean his house and start cleaning outside, he is dirty. Because, you know, whatever he does outside, he will bring it more inside. And that's what happens to us. Now, when you go to Nigeria, talk of sports. They know every sportsman overseas.
Okay.
But those in the country, no person knows them. No person. Talk of the best hospitals, they know. But talk of Ibobi there, they don't know. And cars. Now we have somebody building car, private car, vehicles in Nigeria.
Okay.
Nigerians don't even patronize him. They don't talk good of him. Government should have mandated it. Every government this thing should buy innocent motors. They don't do it. We want to buy the best cars. And go there, you see, you know, private jets everywhere. A country where a graduate earns $18,000. 18,000 naira. 18,000 naira is how much? About $75. About $75.
$70 or $75, yeah.
Jesus Christ. No. It's not gonna be. So the change that we are talking about has come. This is what the change is. It's either it will change you to good or change you to bad. But then, you know, maybe that will help us in future to talk about change again.
Okay.
When there's change, you know, let us get to the definition of the change that we want. But for now, there's one thing I know that has changed. They are facing corruption. Without fighting it, the looters of the country are afraid. We need somebody to do that.
Okay.
But then we need also somebody to correct those in uniform. You can't wear Nigerian uniform, police or custom or anything, and you be begging money on the street. In the airport, you are begging money. And people are looking, you represent the country, and people are looking at you. All these things ought to change. And politicians should be held accountable. Yes, people should talk.
Okay.
That's what you get in democracy, except we don't have democracy.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've had it all. We are clamoring for change, and the change has come. But our guest mentioned something that I would just love to ask you 1 or 2 questions on that area. He talked something about Biafra, because I know that in the country Nigeria, there's a very big problem on this issue of Biafra. Many people are on the streets of Lagos, Enugu, Imo State, and other places, Abuja, protesting and fighting and then looting, and then there's somebody they are trying to put in jail. And anyway, let's ask him to tell us more about this issue of Biafra. Sir, my viewers will want to know what is really happening in Nigeria about this issue of Biafra.
Well, like I said earlier, it's our history. A man that has a child with bad food, is he going to kill that child?
No.
That's what we have.
Okay.
So Biafra is something that has happened to us, but some feel that it's inconclusive. And most of the youths now agitating for Biafra, they weren't born when the war was fought.
Was fought, okay.
So, will you blame them? No. Whom should you blame? We. Whoever that saw that war ought to be blamed. Because we should have written history of the war.
Okay.
Then we should have also, documented why the war. How far did it, go? And what was the, result of it? Was it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? Then how do we solve our problems? I mean, you can't, dynamite. You can't ignite a dynamite and you think it will not explode. That's what is happening. These youth, they are not happy. Two things. One, they have no job. And secondly, they've had not a good source, not from a good source. They've heard that there was a time, there was war, and some people were, victimized and things like that. So they are agitating. So my solution to this is bring them. You cannot ignore what is happening in the country now. No person should ignore it. Get them, bring the youth, not the elders, the youth. And the guy, what is, flaming this more is because they held their leader, Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay.
Now, it's just, I mean, we've all been through that, young people. A young man without job is a dynamite. So, it's like a child that wants to cry and you touch him. He will not start screaming. So, what they should do, bring that man out, take him to court. If you feel that you want to take him to court, take him to court. Not incarcerate him without, it is not legal, one. Secondly, let there be a discussion. Let people talk. Let us find a solution. Because if it means unity, you can never have unity without opinion of the people.
Okay.
You must get their opinion and blend the opinion and have an agenda to it. And what was that agenda? And you have your point. Constitutional, whatever they did, something.
Constitutional conference?
Conference they did.
Okay.
What's the outcome of it?
Okay.
Nonsense. Because if there was something good out of it, this shouldn't have happened. If there was something good out of our treasure or management, the youth would have been employed. There are too many employments in Nigeria, no person. Even in oil sector. In oil sector, too many employments. You don't need to go to school to create this. They're just there. Do you know we have 280 undocumented minerals.
Wow.
That are in Nigeria. No person knew. And we have people studying in Nigeria. No person took them to this. Now, imagine where you now mandate these young people. Go and look for this. We have gold, we have tin ore, we have oil surplus. But where they are looking for oil, it's like a myopic person looking through, not knowing that you have other fields where we have solid minerals. And some Nigerians are trading on these solid minerals without letting the youth. I mean, you can create jobs. You can create jobs. You can expose people to what the land has. And our country grows. Have you been to the north? You see things growing out of stone. That's a blessing. Just, in Jos, when Jos was Jos, you see it's like a mystery. Things happen there that you can never see anywhere that is written. Nigeria is done right. Just has a university. Nothing is done there. In Ife, there's a sickness in Ife. It has been documented longest time, about 1930-something to 40-something.
Okay.
It's there, Elisha fever. How many times have you had any doctors talk anything about it? No person has talked anything. That's a Nigerian medical code or health code. No person talks about it. Now talk about our color. We have the greatest number of black people on earth.
Okay.
And then this black thing, melanin, is called intelligent. It's a facilitating hormone.
Okay.
Anything facilitating is still good. Why is it that we don't do anything? Why is it that no person looks at things the way we should look at things? Why is it that our people don't go into research? Those that go into research, they don't have anything. Every Nigerian is a contractor. And now, how do you want a contractor to build a nation?
A nation.
It don't happen like that. It don't happen.
Wow.
And somebody wants to have his first car as Mercedes. Your first car Mercedes? Mine was bicycle. Then motorcycle. Yes.
Okay.
And Beetle. I drove Beetle. Then from there.
Wow.
So everything has turned. But the good thing is that I happen to be one of those that saw Nigeria when Nigeria was good.
Okay.
Even when I did my youth service. After my youth service, the day I was discharged, I had 3 jobs.
Wow.
Waiting for me.
Wow.
You know? But I had to take the one that I felt that is best for me. That's, being under Professor Adele Lambo.
Okay.
And then God used him to push me, put me where I am now.
Wow.
So you talk, when I mention him, now I refer to mentorship. You cannot be somebody if you don't serve somebody. Somebody has to mentor you. You have to mentor somebody. Somebody has to mentor you.
Okay.
But some people came, and now you are talking of crime. You are talking of 419. You are talking of Yahoo boys. Why? Because what they saw in the society,
that's what is affecting them.
It's affecting them. Now I tell you, when I bought my first car, I went to the village on Christmas time.
Okay.
The elders of the village came very early in the morning to ask me, oh, well, you just finished tree service. That was the year I finished tree service.
Okay.
But then, I was employed. I finished tree service in December, the same December before Christmas. Professor Lambo approved car loan for me.
Wow.
I went and bought car. But when I got home, they asked me. Elders came. I never invited them. They just came. They asked me, "You just finished your service a few weeks ago. How did you get money to buy a car?" Then I had to explain to them.
Wow.
So they said, okay. And then the next year, now, I had my own money. I bought another car, my own car, not on loan. I had paid my loan within a year. Then I bought another car. They came back. Then I told them, this is my money. But that thing doesn't exist now.
No more.
You will see somebody, he didn't go to school. Even when he went to school, he had no job. He had nothing. All of a sudden, he brought a car. And he would even bring a jet. And they will give him chieftaincy. And then they'll clap for him. So what do you expect this guy that had no job about him? He would think that what he's doing is right. That's the problem.
Wow.